What up, everybody? This is DJ Marcus J, aka Mr. Block Party, and I am sitting here with the one and only MetaClean Rupert. MetaClean, what up, fam?
What is up, Marcus J? Man, it is a pleasure to be here. Phenomenal world. Love the stuff you're doing in the space, man. Just thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you for being a part of the show. I normally go into a long introduction, but I figure for this one, I'm actually changed my mind. Just pivoted here just like 30 seconds ago. I actually asked MetaClean to introduce himself. And as he does this, get ready. It's going to be a long list of stuff.
I'll try.
I could do better telling you maybe what he doesn't do in the metaverse. I'd be easier at that than it would be for him to list all the stuff that he does, though.
Right.
So, MetaClean, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So in short, my name is MetaClean Rupert. I'm a UX specialist who creates immersive experience in a virtual reality platform for creators and businesses. To put it short, I help people figure out what the metaverse is. I'm a strategist by trade and in the metaverse. Have a 30 plus year career in both corporate, fashion, music, photography, and graphic arts. And I've just been able to utilize some of that previous experience to help people navigate the space and also build a brand in here. I run a company called MetaClean Presents, where our core value is to create, love, inspire, and add value.
Like I said, I couldn't have said it better. So as we'll get to it throughout the show, some of the amazing things that you've been doing in the platform.
Absolutely.
But of course, before you got a chance to do any of that stuff, what initially brought you into the headset here?
Man, let me tell you. So I'm a serial entrepreneur hustler by trade, right? So what that means is any opportunity that I may see to make a little bit of money, even if it's things that I don't really understand, I'm going to attempt it. I've sold on Amazon. I've done the print on demand thing. I've tried a lot of different things. Some of it stuck, some of it hasn't. One of the things I do really enjoy doing sometimes is buying and reselling. So the headset came about as me seeing this product, which I didn't know what it was. I understood what the metaverse was because I had been investing in some cryptocurrency stocks, which were metaverse based, right? So the terminology metaverse wasn't something I had never heard before. I had just never been inside the metaverse. And if anybody has watched Ready Player Me, or Ready Player One, that is the metaverse, right? And without me even knowing what the metaverse was, it wasn't until I put the headset on until I realized, man, this is where we're at. So I bought the headset thinking it was going to be the hottest toy of the Christmas season. I spent a couple of $100. I thought, like with some of these video games, I'd be able to double or triple what I paid for it. So I was ready to resell it. And 2 weeks before Christmas, Costco got a shipment of 250 headsets. And I was like, gosh, darn it. I was like, it's like I never intended to put it on, right? So I'm just like, I don't even want this thing. What now I feel like now I'm out a couple of $100 for this thing that I don't even want. And who am I going to give it to? But I was just like, you know what? Because of having been invested in some cryptocurrencies, with Decentraland and Sandbox and those currencies based around that, I was just like, you know what? Let me just put it on and see what this thing is about. And man, I tell you, when you ever see sometimes those cartoons when you have an epiphany and the light bulb shines above your head, the clouds open up, the rays from God comes down and shines on you. Like that's the epiphany I had when I put the headset on and got around other people. Because initially, you're brought to a home screen world and you're kind of there by yourself. But I think my first entry point was the original venues. And at that point, it was just kind of like a big room with a couple of doors that showed movies and National Geographic type shows and UFC. And once you learn that I was in the headset with other people in the headset who were real people, then, we just started engaging and we were all brand new and amazed at the technology. Then I found my way over to Horizon Worlds because at the time that was a separate platform. And my first entry point was Hardy World. And I walked in there and, I saw the logos on the wall, Netflix, Nike, and I was just like, how did I miss all this stuff? Like now, I didn't know at the time that they were just creator made. The sponsors weren't really there promoting it, but I'm just looking at this thing like, where have I been where I missed all this stuff happening like right underneath my nose? Like I was so blown away. And back then, I've been here since December 2021. It was such an innocent space where everybody was just wide-eyed. Nobody was really necessarily talking about business. We were just socializing, man, and just exploring the space and getting to know each other. And it was a really fun and exciting time. Then, as I started to learn more about the space, I thought with a creative background that I'd be, this phenomenal creative. I'd create these amazing builds. And I realized pretty early into it that I don't like the process of building. I'm easily frustrated, and learning how to build on this platform is frustrating. Like, again, I have a bit of a design background, but building in here is different. It's not on a computer. You do it with your hands, and the manipulation of the objects it's a challenge in the beginning. And the F-bombs that you probably will never hear me say again as I learned how to build in here, it brought my frustration level to a maximum. But I'm all about tempering my peace and moving through the space positively without frustrations on things that I don't necessarily care about. And I just realized I didn't care that much about the building process to do the work to elevate me into a status of being like a top creator. But I still build, I still do my own builds. I'm okay with the talent and the levels that I've reached. I know I'm probably never going to be top tier because it takes energy to be good at something. And I just don't direct my energy that way. I prefer to use my experiences to help other creators who are talented that don't necessarily have the business acumen figure the space out to get them to better places. So, and that's kind of where I've been. It's been my happy space of where I've been operating.
Everybody that comes into the headset has a different story, a different thing that brought them in. Mm-hmm. I think I have to say, I enjoy your story the most. He had no desire to. Just like,
listen, but
I understand
like
you was hoping supply and demand, it would happen.
When you're expecting money and that money don't show up, you're just like, man,
damn it.
I buy this?
No confetti. Yeah, no confetti happened when that.
No confetti for that one. No confetti for that one.
When you saw Costco with another 250 headset, no confetti for that.
Man, I didn't even realize too. Like, I went back in there. Like, my wife and I used to have these Christmas parties at our house, like for anywhere from 50 to 100 people. And it started as a way for us to kind of get to know our neighbors when we first moved in. But, it just morphed and got bigger and bigger every year. Friends, family, neighbors started showing up. So the only reason I went into Costco that I knew that happened because I needed more paper plates. So I go in there.
Shout out to the paper plates. If it wasn't for paper plates, if it was Blue is against paper plates. See, Blue? If it wasn't for paper plates.
Yes, I would.
That is a funny one.
Yeah, I probably.
That is a funny one. Blue Moon wish she can get off of mute right now for that one. She wish she could be off of mute right now for that one.
Yeah, plus it was a pandemic too, right? So we were kind of like post-pandemic, and we were just starting to get back outside, but people were still kind of skeptical about being around people. Some places were still shut down. So honestly, from a socialization standpoint, we didn't have a choice but to stay at home most times. I don't do clubs and nightclubs and bars anymore, but even restaurants, you still couldn't sit and eat inside of a restaurant at the time. You'd have to go there, pick up your food, and take it back to the house, right? And we liked, socializing at the house, and people were still skeptical about coming over. We were skeptical about inviting people. We have, children in our home, and we just didn't want to be around masses and masses of people. At the time, plus my mother at the time, actually, you know what? I take that back. No, my mother had passed already. But, there was just so much going on that it was okay to be at home and be comfortable with ourselves. And I just had the time to go in the headset, right? Because I wouldn't have given myself the time to do it. I'm not a big gamer. I have a PlayStation 4. All I play is GTA and FIFA. Those are the only two games I ever played for a year or two. And I'm just not a gamer. So there was no reason, honestly, for me to put the headset on at all until I was forced to. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like, I came into here, and I've said it multiple times, specifically to DJ. I wasn't a game, or I was a gamer when I was younger, but you get older, you kind of stop doing certain things sometimes. I have really stopped gaming, came into here, started seeing the amazing stuff that was happening in the headset. Yeah. And I even had to say shout out to the Mr. Block Party radio team. They are forcing me to actually game some against my will. I
Yes,
refuse to do it
continue to
anymore. But no, I definitely thank them. So it's so much more that you can get, once you get into here. And
yeah,
again, like I said, I came in here because I wanted to DJ. Once I got into here, I started seeing the music scene. And there's different artists I will come across as I was in here. Shout out to YoAphro and several other
yeah,
ones.
facts.
But as you move through here, you start to see different connections in different ways. And just for me knowing YoAphro and other people, I started hearing about something called the block.
Mm-hmm.
And like I do stuff and I'm Mr. Block Party, and people like the block, Mr. Block Party. I'm like, it's two different entities.
Yeah,
But the block, I kept hearing about the block, the block, the block.
yeah.
So I tell you what, let the people know about in the metaverse, the block.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, so the block actually just came from an idea simultaneously between Mr. Waterloon, Yo Afro, and myself, right? So we all were kind of hanging out. We recognized all of us had a background in music or entertainment or media. Mr. Waterloon is a phenomenal director, a super creative.
No joke.
He puts out some amazing content based from this metaverse, and if you want to see some of his stuff, go to his YouTube page. Like he has like I'll say feature length, but they're like 15-minute movies done primarily in Horizon Worlds. And you know, I find sometimes, not to be disparaging against anybody, but there's a way you have to record in here, because if it's not done correctly, it's just not engaging, right? The camera's jittery, it's too far away. You can't really see the avatar, so like it's not very engaging content. And his honestly was the first piece of content that made me stop and watch all 15 minutes. He had a movie called The Gift, and I tell you, when you watch this movie, it'll give you goosebumps. Like it is a little creepy. But the way it was shot, it was just like, man, I've got to find out who this dude was. But I think he had kind of heard the same thing about me in the way I was moving through the space, right? And Afro and I got to meet Afro at a car show that I was hosting, and we put together with a creator named Leroy777. I saw her perform for the first time, and she really was like the first person to make me really be like, nod my head, and I was just like, okay, I'm listening. Who's this person? And man, if you know her energy is so infectious. He's super loving and giving, and we just got into a conversation, and we all kind of got together and started helping her out with some of her music assets and building together. And we recognize that artists in this space didn't necessarily get the benefits of what I feel like an artist should get, right? So we call on artists to make the worlds that we create more engaging, because we want people to come to our worlds to be entertained. And having a musician or an artist on that stage, or a DJ, right? We can throw DJs in that category, brings your world alive, right? People like to socialize, be entertained, listen to music and all the things that we pay artists and DJs for. But a lot of times those artists weren't getting paid. They were doing a lot to help creators bring traffic to the worlds, but they got some exposure. But a lot of times their stuff wasn't being rebroadcasted. They weren't getting paid for the time that they spent. And we were just like, there's something wrong with that, right? And so coming from real world music experience, which all three of us had, we figured we have to normalize this thing to make it good for the artists, right? Because the way I do business in the metaverse is, if there's not a win-win-win situation for everybody involved, I'm not really that interested, because at some point, if everybody doesn't win out of the deal, somebody's going to get taken advantage of, and somebody's going to feel a certain way. Like, I can't make money unless the people I'm working with make money, right? Oftentimes, I'm the last one to make money to make sure they're good for whatever reason. But whatever the agreement is between you, like, we have to do a better job of creating wins for everybody involved, not just me making your world popular because there's an artist there. And I was guilty of that, because I invited people to my world and didn't necessarily pay them in the early stages, until I realized, well, it's taken me time to build the world. So the time I've paid is, how I paid for the world is time, right? But you're taking time to come on the stage and perform. Like, you need a financial benefit, because if I build a world for somebody, I may expect to get paid, right? So if they perform their talent, then also they should decide to get paid. So what we decided to do with Waterloon's creations, he makes these phenomenal music assets that really highlights the creator. we decided to put in place a scaling system to kind of track analytics, because really there's no way of knowing who's paying attention to you in this space. Yes, we have followers, but most of the times the people that we follow, like I have 3,400 people in my follow list. I know maybe not a tenth of those people actually really do follow me, right? But we figured if we could create an asset and then track who picks that asset up for free initially, then we'll know how many people we're exposing it to. So on top of that, we brought in a very real world thing with the, having it be gold or platinum. So the metaverse, we said, listen, if 50 people come and get this thing, initially not charging, then we'll say, okay, that is a gold selling artist. And now we can pay them accordingly, right? They're not brand new. At least 50 people are checking for them. Then we can say, hey, for every song, you get X amount of dollars. But within that, let's do platinum. So if 100 people come and get it, then, hey, that is a platinum selling artist. 100 people are interested in you enough to take the time and get your project. And now that ups your tier. Now you will get, $25, $30 a song based on your status. And listen, if 1,000 people come and get it, then you diamond, and maybe hell, that's $50 a song, right? And you do 3 songs in 15, 20 minutes. I mean, that works out to be about $600 an hour worth of work, which is lucrative. But we started doing that. Waterloo started doing music videos. I started building venues and worlds around the artist, and it just became a way for us to show the exposure back to the artist, like I think it should be. And it caught on. Like I think our process was kind of duplicated, which is what we wanted to do. We want people to follow the process. We put on our first paid concert ever in the metaverse, where we sold direct tickets, not asking for donations, but we sold $10 tickets for general admission, a $20 VIP ticket that got you sitting with one of our celebrity guests. We created a real show, not just a stage, with set changes, lighting, and like we did it how it should be done in the physical world, just in this space. But we offer that opportunity and that blueprint for anybody, right? We are content with the way that we monetize and make money, because all the proceeds for ticket sales go to the artist 100%. And we were adamant about keeping that, because we had to have the artists see the benefit in this space as they develop their platforms and go on to do bigger and better things. And if they want to continue to work with us, that's fine, but it's not mandatory. It's not a management deal. We don't sign exclusivity rights. If you want to come back and work with us, we'd love to have you back. And if you don't, maybe we can help you on your journey to figure it out for yourself. Yeah, so it's been cool. It's been really cool. We're now 2 separate divisions. We're the Block Collectives, which deals more directly with their direct performance of the artist and the venue, and then the Block Distribution, which deals directly with the asset and the music videos, which is being held by Mr. Waterloo. So yeah, we're happy. We're happy. Mission accomplished.
I love a lot of stuff that you just said, but I have to disagree with you on something that you just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's that?
When you referred to the concert, you said that you gave the same type of performance that you would get outside the headset or in the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I got you.
Because if you actually saw this concert,
I don't own a spaceship in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We saw things at this concert that you wouldn't see in the physical world. So as an example,
right.
One of the artists, Cosmic Kai. Cosmic Kai opened up his part of the set. Shout out to Cosmic Shy. As a matter of fact, shout out to him. Shout out to Angel the Artist, and shout out to YoAphro. All 3 of them had amazing performances.
Yeah.
But Cosmic Kai opened up his set flying around in a flying saucer. And the song that he performed it to, it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So, and I've mentioned it on this podcast before. If you try to do that same thing here in the physical world, the amount of money it would have cost to do that. Insurance on top of insurance.
Right.
Labor. I mean, the build itself. It's So that alone, I would guess, would have been well over $100,000 just to make that happen one time.
Yeah, but that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the metaverse, though, right? So how we look at it is just like you were not tethered by your imagination. Well, sorry, you're not tethered by a budget, right? You can now literally do absolutely anything that your mind thinks it can do. So if you do want to fly into the world on a flying saucer and land on a giant mushroom and perform your song, you can do that. If you do want to go from having a bodega to a stage to an apartment complex, if you want to drive in a 6'4" around an apartment complex, and then from a 6'4", you're flying in a giant VW bus coming in from outer space, like it really is unlimited what you are able to do. If listen, to quote a famous politician, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Like it is like that in the metaverse.
Pretty much.
It really is. Yeah.
And I gotta apologize because you keep seeing us turning and you saw me waving my hand. It's because we just had a special guest pop into the studio. I'm going to see if we can convince this person to actually come in here and sit down and join us. She has been on here before, but in the building right now, we got the one and only.
Hey, yo,
in the building.
My broskies up in the metaverse. What's going
What's
on,
good,
Meta?
sis?
How are you, bro?
Good to see you.
What's up, DJ
I don't know. Let me see if I can reach across the table without hitting the soundboard. Matter of fact, I'm just
only in the metaverse. Only in the metaverse. Only in the metaverse. You know what I'm saying? We could have. We probably could have tried to like accomplish that. What's good? What's good? What's good? Yo, I hear y'all talking up some stuff. That's what's up here.
Yeah,
blessed to sit down with the one and only MetaClean Rupert. And also,
that's right.
I was blessed to sit down with MetaClean Rupert as well as YoAphro on Tuesday on their show. It's Bigger Than Hip Hop recorded.
That's right,
it is airing tonight, which you won't see this tonight, but it is airing tonight, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Make sure you check out Bigger Than Hip Hop.
Standard Time. That's right.
Yep, on Lux Vision Studios, all streaming platforms.
Absolutely. Shout out. So what's good, my metaverse bros? What is popping? I'm hearing big things as I'm coming up in here. Good vibes as always.
Absolutely.
Talking about Meta Square Garden and the fact that, you're right, Marcus. Man, that in the real world, for an independent artist, it'd be hard to do unless you have some heavy sponsorships behind you, unless you have somebody that is really investing in what it is that you're doing, your dream. And that person has to be coming in big for something like that. Because Cosmic Eye got a whole UFO, like huge salute to Waterloo with that, right? Like got a whole UFO, came in, that was his video. That's another thing, right? Wasn't it part of the video shoot as well? So look at that. You get to bring what you've put out there first, which is a dope video that I might add. Okay. And then even that alone is a lot, you know what I mean? In the real world to try to get somebody to do right now, independent artists, you can get someone to film your video for you for anywhere between, depending on the person, anywhere between $400 to $1,500 off their phone. You know what I mean? But that's without all of the schematics, all of the nice things that you see here in the metaverse. You know what I'm saying? This is just the simple
bedazzle,
things.
as you call it.
Right. So so it's more so so where we're gonna be, we're gonna be on this block, and then you're gonna bring your peoples, and then I'm just gonna film you. Now if I'm I want to come in off the fire escape, well then now we're renting a crane, and now we're gonna have to go ahead and get all of this other stuff. So it is what it is. But here, like you said, in the metaverse, for an independent artist, you could do so much. You know what I mean? You could really create the dreams that you've had for yourself, and as well as investing. You have to invest because these people, MetaClean, Waterloon, all of these creators, they deserve to get paid, right? So I really encourage for artists to really invest in themselves because it's worth it. I'm telling you, it's just worth it. It's worth it for any artist, any creator to get ahead in this space because people dedicate time when there's money involved. They really do. You know what I mean? They don't waste no time. They get it over with and they move on to the next because now they got another, client that they have to go ahead and work with because these creators take time. I don't care how much time, I don't care how much little time it is, how much big, they take time for, your build. And then these artists take time to create shows for you. So I just feel like I'm really big when it comes to creatives, period, in the space and their deservings, because sometimes people get overlooked and it's just oh, okay, he gave me a world. Okay. No, it's not. No, just hello. He took time to do that. it doesn't matter if he doesn't have no big name. He took time to do that.
Right.
So kudos to all those creatives in the space, making moves, doing their thing. Huge salute to you, because y'all are making big things happen up in the space. You're inspiring people, you're motivating people to want to do more work, so that's a beautiful thing. And I'm always with that.
Facts.
Look, thank you. And I got to say, shout out to the block.
Word up.
When we refer to a city, I don't care where the city is in the world. Any city that's popping has more than one DJ, has more than one grocery store, has more than one hardware store, has more than one, whatever the case may be. So that's why I want to say a special shout out to you. As we're moving through these metaverse streets, and I've been saying this for the longest, every time I look up, I'm seeing something from the block. And not just something that's progressing.
Yeah.
So I got to give you all your credit for that. Salute to you all.
Man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We're creatives, right? So we know that as creatives, our minds aren't stagnated with just normalcy. So even as we're in the midst of 5 or 6 projects, we're still thinking about the other 10 projects ahead of us, right? So we have to temper ourselves sometimes to get these projects out across, or decide, well, maybe this one isn't ready for this time, and maybe we should focus our energy on that. And sometimes it's instinctive, right? Somebody may show up, we may feel like a certain thing should be happening based on some of the stuff we see, and then we'll focus our energy. Like for us right now, it's about the DJ, right? We love hip hop. We're all about the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements of hip hop. And we know that the DJs in this space haven't necessarily got the shine that we think they should get. Like, and Fro is she's a dancer. She's an MC. So she understands what it's like to be front and center on the stage. And she recognizes that the DJs don't necessarily get the shine they deserve, even as she's getting her own shine doing what she does, right? So that now is our focus. We want to make sure that all DJs, right, have the ability to be seen and exposed in here, and hopefully get some work. Like, listen, people like you, Marcus, you're never going to struggle to find work because your quality of work is so good. You have a phenomenal reputation and you have a proven track record, right? But some DJs just enter the space, may not know, may not have the network of people, may not know that they can actually do that the same way we looked at the space and didn't know how much we could do until we actually did it. And that's what we're kind of here for, to show people what can be done and hopefully get you to spread your wings and fly. Listen, if we can be eagles and fly together, then we can take out a whole posse of goats if we need to. Or you can be a buzzard and pick from the dead on the ground. Like, you can fly any way you want to fly. We just choose to fly like eagles and get this thing done.
That's right, and I mean, for real. And I mean, and it's all about the culture too, and right now the culture's getting picked on for whatever reason. I don't know, like who started it or whatever the case may be, but it's getting hated on, and I can't stand it. I can't stand the divide that's trying to be, that's kind of being forced out there in the culture. So, I try to go past it by still making moves and creating with those who create and DJs. If it wasn't for the DJs, we wouldn't have a lot of the music that we've heard today or in our past. We wouldn't have those, at least not that fast, not like that, not in the underground, because I honestly feel like some of the ways that the DJs were giving us that the music, the sound, the rhythm, and making us dance, we couldn't hear that from our radio stations because it was too underground. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and I remember back in the day.
Can I drop something real quick before you continue? I just want to say, man, the beauty of the metaverse, and I want people to really understand this, and I may talk directly to the camera. Like, even with what Fro's saying, right? We know that we are being inopted once again to cause division. Who started what first? Who was there in the beginning? Who did that? Listen, none of that really matters. It truly doesn't, because what came from that is really important. But I tell you, as someone that pays attention to politics, now I'm not political, I'm not overly religious. I'm a believer, I have beliefs and thoughts about things. But I tell you, it always starts with a disruption of what you think to be true if somebody wants to co-opt it and take it from you. And what I love about the metaverse is that as a creator, you have the ability and the control to tell your story exactly how you want to tell it without any interference from anybody else, right? And that is a perfect utilization for this space to be able to tell your story. Like my realization for 2024 is I don't care what is happening. I'm going to tell the story the way I want to tell it from my own eyes and with my ability. And no one has a right to take that away because it's mine, right? We don't always get the opportunity to do that when we operate on other people's platforms, where our posts are taken down from Instagram and YouTube because they don't want to hear what we have to say, while others have the ability to say whatever they want to say. We know more industries than not are controlled by whomever has the most money gets the loudest voice, right? So we don't get to tell our own story, right? I shouldn't have to walk through the streets of anywhere and be looked at as a drug dealer or a rapist because that's all the only way I'm projected in media. But in the metaverse, you can view me any way you want to look, but my creativity is telling you exactly who I am because that's what I'm pushing in front of you, whether you see it or not. That is the control that we have in this space, and I absolutely love it. Powerful.
Very
True
much
words.
so. I mean, come on. You see how passionate he was just from what I said, right? Like the very first time I heard about the divide, like I got chills in my cheeks. I was like, yo, hold on, wait a minute. And I was mother mouthing and everything. And so that's why I was like, let me let him talk. Yeah. I was like, let me let him talk because he was passionate. He said, let me just say something real quick. Because it is kind of like, when you're from that type of background, when you're from I was born in Manhattan, okay, and I didn't move to the Bronx till I was 11 years old. So up until then, I was around diversity. I was in Alphabet City. The Village is right there, So when it came to graffiti, when it came to breakdancing, when it came to drug dealing and all of that, I got to see it all, and when it came to the DJs jamming at the schools and stuff like that, I got to hear it all, and I got to watch my mom do her thing. And there was never any type of divide. If anybody was having a good time, that's what they were doing. And they all went to one place where everybody knew that. Like it wasn't no type of you're this and you're that. It's a melting pot of everything and all kinds of like styles and whatever you want to be, whether you're punk rock, whether you're hip hop, whether you're disco, whether you're black, brown, yellow, gold, red. It didn't matter. Like everyone, the Village is a place, West 4th Street. Everybody would go there, party, listen to the newest artists. On Run DMC performed there. A lot of comedians performed there, like live with no type of ticket sale. They're just opening up a cipher, like because this is just what it was, and that's what I was brought up around. So for me to hear that, it bothers me, but it also bothers me because I can't sit back here and act like there's never been no racism from where I'm from, whether it's from Manhattan in the Bronx, because there was always that. However, the culture kind of like embraced a certain type of when you're familiar, when you know someone is involved with that culture, whether it's through their language, through their fashion, through how they if they're an MC, whatever, that you could relate because y'all come from a certain place of struggle. It may not be the same exact thing, but that you could relate because you're speaking on.
If you could dance, you could dance. If you could rap, you could rap. If you could DJ,
and even
you could DJ.
Even with the dancing, right? Even with the dancing, this dancing, break dancing has always been around. It was never no cultural thing. But let's keep it real. Afro Latino is deep. Okay, so it's like I can't sit here and be like it's this and it's that. No, like it's what you make it, but. Coming up in the Bronx, I remember because I'm Puerto Rican and I'm West Indian and Black. So there would be times where I can go somewhere and they didn't know if I was Puerto Rican. I can go somewhere, they didn't know if I was Black. So I didn't care because, at the end of the day, I'm going to get busy and I'm going to do my thing who I am and y'all going to figure it out later. I'm going to salsa a little bit. I'm going to get my B-girl on a little bit. I'm going to do this over here. Whatever the case may be, you got to understand I'm from a cultural background and I'm going to bring up whatever it is that was influenced in me. I think what I was brought up around was a beautiful thing because there's so much that people pay for just for the shit that I know. They wish that they could have been a part of. because they don't know. So that's why when you hear certain things like graffiti is now questioned to be part of hip hop, who is starting that? Nobody said hip hop owned it. Nobody said hip hop created it.
We just made it.
Nobody. It's this what it is. It's like what is going on?
Look, I look at it like hieroglyphics. It was just our version of hieroglyphics. The way hieroglyphics were left as a statement of history is the same thing we did in graffiti. It was our way of doing it. Our way of doing
messages
it.
Across.
Right,
we may not have had our stuff inside of a cave on the side of a mountain, but guess what? It was tagged on a subway car.
It was tagged on the side. Come on.
It was on the side of a building.
Ramo. R.I.P. Rainbow. For real. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just stuff like that. You know, you could appreciate movies like that. Shout out to Beach Street. Shout out to all of those that love that old school hip hop culture. Yes, Wild Style, Breaking 1 and 2, Crush Groove. You know what, Meta, we're going to go ahead and visit all of that. We're going to have us some movie nights.
We have a movie night. We're going to need a movie night.
We're going to have movie nights leading up to the birthday of hip hop, August 11th. I feel like we're going to go ahead and start having our little movie nights once a week, invite people out to one of our spots in VR chat that we're going to choose from, because we're new to VR chat. Like I'm pretty much new, so we're going to be up in there hitting them stomping grounds like lovely and hard. So get ready, VR chat. The Block Collective is in the building, straight up.
Well, look, you segue into right what I was going to ask you. And unfortunately, this is going to be our last question of the day. And this time goes way too fast, too fast. But I just want to ask both of you, what are your plans individually for the future as well as the block?
Man.
Well, you know, for us, man, we're operating with the brand, the Block Collectives and YoAphro and Friends. So YoAphro and Friends is really an entry point for some of the people in her network to come into the space and experience what we're experiencing and show them the benefits of this thing. And we're just going to keep doing that and getting bigger and bigger and eventually take this off platform back into the physical world and just kind of connect and marry everything. For me personally, you know, I've had a couple of talk shows. One of those is coming back, Meta Talks Live, which I'm really excited about. It was a creator-based talk show that got to learn the journey of some of the creators in the space and why they do the things they do, because oftentimes they don't get asked that question. We see what they've done. We don't always necessarily know why they've done it. And, you know, it was the first platform that I created that gave me a really emotional response based on the stories and what people were doing. It was the first time I shed tears in the metaverse, but to be in a room of 24 people and hear everybody crying based on the trauma that somebody has overcome is inspirational. And I want to keep that feeling going because, you know, people get discouraged about this space if they don't reach a certain notoriety or they want to achieve something and they don't necessarily know how or get the immediate results that they think they need. But I tell people to keep going because if you keep going and everybody else quits, and guess what? You've won the race. Right?
Exactly.
That's right.
It is really that simple. And it's not always going to be easy, but, you know, building brands and starting businesses never is, right? So get all that YouTube stuff with all you need is an LLC and you're making $1 million out your head because it doesn't work like that. Like, do the work, like build community, tap into people, work on your craft and your talent. And be consistent, and I guarantee you do all of those things. You can't fail, because you have to have a meaning of self-accomplishment. You know, it's difficult for all of us. Sometimes we get discouraged, right? We create these things and we want it to be seen because, like, let's be honest, right? Even I'm guilty of this. I'll say I don't really care what people think about my creativity, but innately I kind of do because I hit the publish button, right? Because if I didn't really care, I'd never have to publish it and I'd just build 100 worlds in edit mode, which I do have. But sometimes I do hit publish because I want people to see my creativity. So when people don't receive it well or engaged, every now and again I get, man, I spend a lot of time on this and no one's really interested, right? But because I'm not really here just for the creativity, I can manage through that. But some people are here for just the creative part, right? They're not really building businesses or platforms or brands. And we have to make sure that we recognize those people because the varying levels of skill will always exist in every industry. It doesn't mean that the people who are less skillful or who are less good at getting the aesthetic right it doesn't mean that those people don't count, right? They still need our encouragement and our support, and sometimes just to show up, right? Or in every capacity that you want to show up for that person, is vital and it's necessary for somebody else's well-being. Which at the end of the day, we can get enough people moving positively in this space, then the space becomes positive, right? You have a lot of angry people in this space, then this space is an angry space. Like Blue Moon's in the audience, she's from Toronto. I'll use her as an example. Toronto and New York are very similar cities. One city's often angry, the other city often isn't. And I'm gonna let you decide what city is which. Right. No difference whatsoever other than the geographic location, but the sentiment of the city and the people predict what the sentiment is for the feeling when you go there.
Right.
And this space is absolutely no different. So when you create positive experiences with enough people that benefit from it, then hopefully whatever mood they're in will turn to a positive one, which will then affect their audience, and it just becomes contagious and it spreads out. But toxicity works the exact same way, right? So we can do this thing a number of ways. We just choose to do it in a way that's going to benefit and not harm.
Right. Absolutely.
Shout out to Blue Moon here in the building, the Mr. Block Party Radio team. And MetaClean for that special endorsement for the Canadian Department of Transportation.
Hey.
And just to say, Toronto's an angry city. That's what I'm going to say.
No. Yo. You know,
well, I tell you what, Fro, what you got coming up here in the future here for the Metaverse?
Oh man, I'm still gonna go ahead and bring my peoples in, but it's all about me moving around and spreading the good vibes and, still creating and bringing in some new music, you know what I'm saying? But I find that here as of lately, my executive hat, has been, here, there, and which is a good thing because this is what I do in the real world. This is what I planned on doing. So sometimes it amazes me how my words is just, I'm watching them being played in front of me and it's all greatness because I'm surrounded by some great people. So, look forward to just seeing so much more, bringing more people up in the space, sharing all the greatness with some new faces and everything. And, moving to, doing a lot of this stuff too in the real world, really, really getting involved, like getting the metaverse involved and speaking about it and representing. Now I want to represent the metaverse to my peoples in the real world at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like now this is where I'm at, remain active in the space, but really, really go hard and letting people know that we are nothing to play with up here in the space. We are making moves. We're able to make some money. We're about to go ahead. Like I said, these DJs are everything. I put out this call to all DJs again this Thursday. Tonight, it was supposed to be, something going on, this night, tomorrow night, Saturday night with all these different DJs, but it's okay because I'm always going to put out the call for DJs to come through tonight. I'm going to be at the city venue at 6:00. Come through 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not doing nothing, just come on through. Yo, DJ Marcus could tell you about that world. The world is off the chain. MetaClean hooked it up. When I tell you it is the spot, and it's all for the beginning because there's so much more to come from just this world by itself. Like we want to be able to sell mixtapes for the DJs in the space, just as the artists are able to go ahead and sell their music in the
directly
space.
From the world.
You know what I'm saying? Straight up, like create music assets. So this would be mixtape assets for the DJs so that they can go ahead and sling up in this world, that world. And not only that, when they want to place their bots up, I have a space for them to go ahead and throw their bots. If they can't be there, throw your bot up in there, play your mix, throw your cash up on the wall, Cash App, let people know where they can go ahead and purchase it if they like what they're hearing, or at least your website where they can go ahead and find more of your music. I just feel like it's that time. I've been here over a year. Let's get busy, yo. For real, the elements, we need to get together and do this here in the metaverse because I'm bringing some pioneers up in the space. And it's not just pioneers. I'm talking about companies that are out there doing big things. Hip Hop Museum is about to go ahead and open up next year. Like I feel like we need to be in place to be able to show what we do up in this space as the culture, as a community, as a whole group. Like if this is how we're living, let's do it. Let's get the graffiti artists, let's get the dancers together, let's get the artists, period. Let's all get together and do this because it's going down. And I know I'm not stopping. So whoever's rolling with me, roll with me because it's going down. Like I said, let's go. Word up. Confetti.
You heard it directly from MetaClean Rupert. You heard it directly from YoAphro. In my opinion, two of the greatest ambassadors of the metaverse here.
Appreciate
Was
you,
blessed
brother.
to have both of you sit down with us again.
Appreciate you.
My name is DJ Marcus J, aka Mr. Block Party. I want to say thank you to Fro. Thank you to MetaClean. Again, this has been another episode of the Metaversal Mindset Podcast. Catch us on YouTube. And we got some expansion coming here soon, too. Thank you again, everybody that tunes in and support. Peace.
Let's go.
Create, love, inspire, and add value.
Word up. That's hip.
Shout out to the Mr. Block Party radio team. Thank you for everything.
Word up.
Oh, wait. Shout out to Barbara Zoo in the building.
Zoo up in the house.
Straight from the Neverlands.
Word up.
Till next time, everybody. Peace.
It's a vibe. DJ Marcus J.